Glamour.
Grit. Glamour.
Grit. Glamour. Grit.
Have you noticed how many in the older generation seem to be against going to the doctor? I was thinking about this and wondering if it's just back in the day. Well, honestly, not even that long ago, going to the doctor was a much bigger hassle. So I'm so grateful to be parenting young kids now in modern times because I can just head over somewhere like Texas Health Breeze Urgent Care when we have a medical need. Hardly any wait times, you're in and out in less than 30 minutes, and the staff is so welcoming. The lobby even reminds me of a spa more than an urgent care. I mean, they have a coffee station in the lobby. Hello. Anybody who gives me caffeine is good in my books, baby. They also offer virtual visits from your phone or computer, which we all know is a game changer when you're a busy parent. Breeze has locations popping up all over North Texas, so there may be one near you. Just check out breezeurgentcare.com to find the one closest to you. Hey guys, welcome back to the Glamour and Grit. It is my favorite day. It is Monday, and Monday means Celebrity Monday.
I knew you were going to look at me and expect like a whole hype thing on that.
Oh my God. And this episode, I think, is going to be super close to my E-Man's heart because this episode is all about his bros from a little show called
1883, which is why I wore my hoodie today because I wanted to represent.
He's repping the best show of all time. And I have to talk about this really fast. This cast is so close.
I'm like blushing just knowing that we're going to be talking to them today because of how much they mean to me and how cool this is.
And not only are these men so close to us, their wives, their girlfriends, we have all become the 1883 family. So even though we weren't on set all the time, I love these people from the bottom of my heart.
And we've gotten to do so much with them outside of the show, which we can get into a little bit today in the interviews. But, aside from the month, I think we started first week of August and finished the show January. So we spent all those months basically together. And then since then have done outings together and seen concerts together. And it really has been this family that just kept on going. And it's amazing. And we've got 4 of them here today with us, which is going to be incredible. So we're in for an amazing episode. So I don't want to even waste any more time because I'm just giddy right now.
I know. I think we need to bring in our main man.
Let's bring in our first guest, actor from 1883. Please help me welcome LaMonica Garrett.
The crowd goes wild.
Yeah.
What's up,
y'all?
Hey, man. So grateful to have you here. Thank you so much for making the time.
Are you kidding me? Thanks for having me.
I think all the ladies, when his face popped up, just swooned.
Oh.
I was like, just a stud.
I don't know. It might be the lighting or something. I don't know.
No.
Yeah.
I will never forget walking around and for some reason, I think on set, just because of my character's personality or whatever, like people just felt like they could say things to me. And, like I was kind of just like the guy they just.
The
like,
kid brother.
Yeah, maybe that was it. Anytime LaMonica walked by the makeup ladies, the wardrobe ladies, the hair, it was like, and they look at me like I'm sweating too. I was like, I mean, yeah, I get it, but come on, why are you telling me this every time?
I don't remember none of that.
No,
I just
they hit
remember
it.
being too hot and too cold. That's all I remember.
Yes.
Well, for the fans, I'm just gonna read a little bit of what LaMonica has done in his career because it really is incredible. And I like to do this in front of the actors. Sometimes saying he makes fun of me.
I make fun of him. I'm like, this is so awkward for the poor actor to listen to all their achievements.
But I'm like, listen, I know how hard this industry is, and they need to be reminded of how amazing they are. And the accomplishments here are just insane. So I'm going to read them in front of you because it's awesome. But LaMonica Garrett is an actor and former professional slam ball player, which I cannot wait to get into. He was first known for playing Deputy Sheriff Kane in the FX series Sons of Anarchy. By the way, did you work with Taylor Sheridan on that show?
I did not. He left and the next season, me and Rockman Dunbar came in.
Okay.
It's just a weird like thing how that happened in full circle with working with Taylor now. And
Did you
it was
talk
just
about it with him at all?
no, it was so long ago, I guess but it's funny because there's a few people that was on the crew from 1883 that he brought over from Sons of Anarchy. And then I
Oh.
recognized, like, we're out in the field. I'm like, yo, Tanya. Oh, all these different people. And it was like a little mini reunion, but it makes sense why they're there.
That's insane. And for those of you who don't know, Taylor Sheridan, before he was this mega showrunner, director, producer, he was an actor and he got his first big break on Sons of Anarchy. So I just figured maybe you worked together, but that show ran for so long that I guess it makes sense. You just missed each other. But LaMonica's also known for playing Mike Ritter in the huge ABC Netflix series Designated Survivor alongside Kiefer Sutherland, which it truly was unbelievable. And a lot of our millennial listeners will know him from the Arrowverse, which he dominated. He was in Arrow, Legends of Tomorrow, The Flash, Supergirl, Batwoman. I mean, all of them, you name it. And of course, Thomas in the beloved Paramount Plus series 1883, and alongside Chris Pratt in The Terminal List, which he did right after 1883. Can't wait to dive into that.
No big deal.
And most recently is known for his role as Tucker in the Paramount Plus series Special Ops Lioness. Dude, I mean, this bio is insane, but I have to start with I before we get into all the acting stuff. Can we just talk slam ball for a minute? I grew up watching it, but please just talk about that for people who don't know what slam ball is. This was a professional sport that I watched growing up, and LaMonica dominated. I mean, he was the guy you wanted to watch the games for. Can you talk about how you went from, high school, college football player into getting into slam ball for a minute?
Yeah, I played high school football. Then I went to Central Ohio, small school in Ohio, football scholarship. And my dream was to play in the NFL. It was playing the NFL and going to acting. Like that was the order of things, like Carl Weathers, like Jim Brown, like all these other guys I grew up watching. And the football career got cut short. Like I worked out for different NFL teams right out of college, and it didn't take off for me. And that was a little punch in the stomach. So it was like, all right, got to regroup. Let's move to LA and let's pursue this acting thing. And while I was in class in LA, you're taking your acting classes, you're trying to learn the craft. The slam ball thing came around, and I thought, like, a buddy of mine that was in class said, hey, let's there's a new show called Slam Ball. It's like sports, it's this and that. We thought it was like a TV show, and they were having open tryouts, and there's going to be dialogue, and they wanted to see if you're athletic and this and that. Like, yeah, we'll go. We went to the convention center in LA, and when we got there, there's this auditorium with like 200 guys in there, and we're there, and we kind of realized like it's not a TV show, like it's a new sport they're creating right here. And Pat Croce is involved, and he was the owner of the 76ers at the time. And all these other familiar faces, like NBA guys, were there. I'm like, oh, wow, like this is, I'm like, you know what? Let's try out. We're here. Let's give it a shot. If it works, all good. If not, we're back in acting classes, and we're going after the dream. And I went and tried out, and, all these guys are there. At the end of each day, they kept, if you hear your number, you can go home. So it was like you have to perform that day, and if you pass, then you keep going through. And I made it to the very end, and there was just a handful of guys, and I'm like, I think I might be, this might be the thing for right now. We had a draft. I got drafted in the third round, and it was just, I still had those competitive juices from, like physicality and athletic wise. It hadn't left yet from football. So I'm like, you know what? I can do this while I'm younger, and I could go into acting in a little while, but I still, this is fun to me still, and I'm still physically able to do it. And so I did slam ball for maybe 7-8 years. And the last year I played, I led the league in scoring. I led the league in hits. We went overseas. We were in Italy. We just bounced around. We did all these places, and it was just such a close thing for me in my history. You call it origin stories in superhero world. Like slam ball was part of my origin story. And funny fact, the people that produced Slam Ball, Tolan Robbins, they also did a show called One Tree Hill. They did a bunch of different shows, but One Tree Hill came around and they did 3 episode Slam Ball arc. So they said they were going to audition actors and teach them to play Slam Ball to be opposite James Lafferty and Joe Manganiello. And I'm like, no, I can do that part. Like, this is why I'm here. Give me a shot, and they let me audition for it. I got it. And that was the first guest star, first job I ever had was on One Tree Hill because of Slam Ball. And when I'm opposite Joe, I'm opposite James. We got the cameras rolling. We're saying lines. I'm like, man, this felt so right to me. And when we were filming in North Carolina in Wilmington. So when we came back to LA, I told the Slam Ball guys, like, hey, I'm done. Like the way I felt on set, acting, that's why I'm here. That's what I got to do. So that was my last time playing anything Slam Ball. That was the last time touching a court, being on a court, being around the guys. And I went back and I'm like an ambassador for the game. It's back in full effect. Last season, I called like the first opening weekend in Vegas for games. I called them on ESPN, and that was surreal. Me, Nate Robinson, it was just it was different, like full circle. I'm back, but in a different light. But without Slam Ball, I might not be here. So it's something for me.
Boots, built for the Western lifestyle by cowboys and cowgirls who live it every day. Their exceptional quality and unmatched attention to detail come from the heart of years of experience. You'll hear people say they don't build them like they used to. Well, the Rios family of brands does. With an unwavering commitment to doing the right things the right way, the company's dedication to family, quality craftsmanship, and the preservation of a history worth sharing is as strong as ever. Find your perfect pair today at any of their retail partners. For a full list of where to shop or to learn more about the Rios family of brands, visit riosfamilyofbrands.com. Step into the proud heritage of the Rios family of brands, a testament to the heart and soul of the American West.
That's so insane
Wait, that's
to me.
actually the coolest story. And just no big deal, One Tree Hill, which is like the biggest series of my time. I mean, I remember my mom and I were at Fat Camp and we locked ourselves in our room and we binged. So I definitely saw these episodes because we binged every single season of One Tree Hill.
That's
it
wild.
was so.
That's so cool.
Yeah, if you haven't watched it, go pull up Slam Ball online right now, guys, and check it out. It's football meets basketball meets trampoline work. Like it's nuts and it's so physical and like these athletes are insane. So, dude, that's about
Wait,
wild.
I have a quick question though. When you were in high school and things, so you wanted to be an actor as well. You kind of knew after your football career that you wanted to be an actor.
Yeah, I knew that at an early age. Like some of the most memorable times in my house was us sitting around watching like Sanford and Son and the Jeffersons and Good Times, like just watching all these shows. My parents, my mom would be sitting there watching Knots Landing or the Colbys or Dallas or Falcons Crest or whatever. Me and my dad watching football. Like it was just the TV was a major fabric in our household. And me, growing up with the A-Team and Knight Rider, like I really got into these action shows, like Greatest American Hero, The Fall Guy. I'm like, that's what I want to do. But I was living in San Francisco at the time, and you're like, I don't know any actors, but we live right behind Candlestick. I see football players all the time. Like that was tangible to me. Like I can be a football player, but acting was just so foreign and it was just so far removed from where I grew up. It didn't seem possible. And the older I got and I kind of, like I can move to LA and I can do this.
Were
So,
you
yeah.
scared to take that risk going from being like the NFL, kind of doing that life, to then be like, okay, I'm going to try to be an actor? Like I always say my brother played college football, and I feel like he's the closest person in my life that understands our industry because it's all about rejection and your whole life changing overnight. And you could be a star football player and the next day you could get hurt and never have a job again. So
Yeah.
that is such a risky transition to go to another risky industry, and so admirable.
For me, it's I think I credit most of my success to I've never been afraid to fail or fall on my face in front of large groups of people. So, and you don't learn from success, you learn from your failures. And I've fallen on my face more times than I can count. But you pick up, all right, that didn't work. Like, all right, back to the drawing board and just wash, rinse, repeat. And then you start becoming better and you start getting good. And but a lot of people, they're so afraid of failing that they don't take that first step because they don't want to have, egg on their face in front of a bunch of people. That's never been a problem for me. So it's like, all right, yeah, let's do it. I'll start from the bottom and I'll learn and I'll figure it out. Everything in life, I can figure it out.
Yeah, man. And you have. Now, I read, and tell me if this is true or not. Were you named after Daryl LaMonica, quarterback?
I was, yeah, Bay Area kid. The Mad Bomber was like Brady back in the 70s.
Man, that's so
my
cool.
dad.
Were your
He
parents
moved to.
or your family, like, were they athletes? And I mean, was this like a in your blood?
No, my dad played football. My brother played. Yeah, we all played football, but no one in the NFL or anything like that.
Okay.
But my dad, my parents born and raised in Mississippi. And my dad's first time leaving Jackson, Mississippi was when he got drafted to Vietnam. And when he got drafted to Vietnam, they were based in San Francisco. So, and being in San Francisco, my dad's mind was like, what is this? This is the first time he's been around white people. This is in the barracks, like being around other soldiers, like, and just learning everything and seeing everything and the stuff you might read, the stuff you might hear growing up. He was like, none of that is true. Like, these people are awesome. Like, this is an awesome experience. This whole city is awesome. If I make it out of Vietnam, I'm coming back to Jackson to get my mom. I wasn't even born yet, but to get his girlfriend in high school, and they're going to move to San Francisco, and that's where he wants to raise his family. And my dad was one of like a handful of guys that survived. It was like 13 out of 70 that survived in his platoon. And my dad got a Bronze Star. He came back, moved to San Francisco. I was born. And imagine like turning on the TV every weekend, Sunday, and you just see the Mad Bomber, Daryl LaMonica, like just lighting stuff up. And then I come along and my dad's like, that's his name.
That's
like,
it.
That's my
The
LaMonica.
American dream child right here.
LaMonica. Like, and now I'm like, all right, I got in some fights growing up when I was little, but you figure it out.
My
Figure it
God.
out.
So was there this pressure? I mean, he loves sports, named you after a football player. You played football. Was there kind of like this underlying like, hey, you need to go do this sport? And then when you transitioned out of it, was it kind of like was that difficult for your family to kind of swallow, or was it never that kind of pressure?
No, they supported me. Like, I got a job at FedEx for 3 years, and I was like, they were bragging about me working at FedEx.
Awesome.
Like, oh, my son's a driver. His route is the Warner Brothers lot. Like, my son delivers at the Drew Carey show, the Ray Romano show, ER, Clint Eastwood, Malpaso. That's my boy doing that. And I had headshots in my FedEx trucks as well. And just because you never know, like, that might be my break. It wasn't, but that was my lot. That was my my route for a few years. But no matter what I did, my parents supported it. And now that I'm doing this, they're my biggest fans still. So it's, if something doesn't work, you got to keep it going. And they commend me for sticking with it.
My God, that's so inspiring.
I feel like I've known you for so long, too, it seems like, and I'm learning so much. Like, you are unbelievable.
And I really think the story that needs to be told is your dad's story. I mean, that needs to be a movie. Have you ever thought about that?
Yeah, I wrote a short, and it's with not about my dad, but that was the influence. Military. I do a lot of military stuff, and about a soldier, PTSD, suicide, like that kind of subject matter, and stuff me and my dad talked about before. And he's they never really talk about the time in the war, but lately he's been opening up more about his time over there. And like, I didn't even know he had a Bronze Star until like a couple of years ago. It's crazy, but yeah.
That is unbelievable.
And I come from like my brother, my sister-in-law, my cousins, they all, military. They all went and fought overseas. They're veterans. They're, war vets. I went this route. So now it's like I'm telling all of their stories indirectly through all these different characters that I play.
Well, thank them for us for their service,
Yes.
first of all.
Yeah.
And I guess that can kind of take us into the work a little bit, because I've never met a man who can dominate the Western genre like you did, and then take what seemed to be zero break and then completely flip roles into the Terminal List, which was its own world, and then military, and then special ops, and how do you even balance such extremely different genres as an actor so quickly? Because it seems like not much time went past between each of those projects, and I mean, how do you put yourself there now, knowing a little bit of your family background? I'm like, okay, he's been around that, he gets that world, so now that makes more sense to me. But what's kind of your secret sauce there in making such different genres so believable, and doing it back to back the way you've been doing?
I don't, it's just just breathing different characters to life. I don't know, even in 1883 it was a Western, but Thomas was still a soldier, and I do a lot of soldiers. I do a lot of, these warriors, and it's just different settings, different times, different, Thomas is a warrior, but it's in a Western setting. Tucker's a warrior, but it's in a present day setting. Terminalist was, it's these warriors, but it's just the, you do the work, you do the work, you do the research, you pick brains of people close to you, and it's to me it's like football. Like the game is won during practice during the week, and on Sunday it's just you're going out there and you're responding. So if you prepare well, you'll have a great game. And I look at all of this like football. I prepare it the same way. Like I over prepare, so on the day I can just respond and be creative and play with opposite whoever they're doing whatever they're doing. I can play off of it.
Speaking of the work, too, being in 1883 on a global scale telling a story of a black cowboy. And we really have not seen that in our day-to-day media. Did you have some kind of pressure feeling that you are going to be the face of telling these stories that we usually haven't heard all the time?
I try not to put too much pressure on myself. I didn't really think about a lot of that until like maybe a quarter of the way of us filming. Like when I was doing the prep, when I'm getting, Thomas's accent, his dialect, his how he moves, like just creating who this character was in this time. I wasn't thinking of any of that. I was just trying to bring this character to life. And then the more we started working, and the more I started talking to other people, like we were in Fort Worth at Hell's Half Acre, and there were we had like 300 extras, during that day, during that week of shooting. And a few of the extras came up to me, black dudes. They came like, "Man, what does it feel like?" I'm like, "What do you mean?" He said, "What does it feel like to have on that, the Buffalo Soldier jacket?" And I'm like, "Huh." Then it kind of sat on me a little bit. And then it's like, I knew the history of black cowboys. I knew what it meant, but seeing their eyes and seeing how it impacted them, what didn't matter if there was pressure on me or not. This is how other, black actors, black folks in general, black cowboys, how they're going to see this, how you portray this guy, you're representing all of them. Because we haven't had a lot of representation in Westerns in the past, especially in television. And then it started like, the machine was already moving then, so it wasn't like I was in my head. I was just going to go out there and do how I prepared. But yeah, then I started thinking about it a little bit more, but it all turned out well. And it left an impact for a lot of people, and they've reached out to me, and they've let me know about it.
When it's what you guys have done, and I think Taylor Sheridan has brought, it's this Western culture, really put it on a global scale and allowed people, not just people, we think of a cowboy, we think of ranchers and being raised, and that's just not the truth. I mean, it's so much deeper than that. And it's a culture and a mentality, and what he and y'all been able to portray, it inspired so many people. I mean, that's why you're seeing now Louis Vuitton is now going all Western. Beyonce, who is from Texas, though, is now even getting slack because she's doing a country album. And I'm like, y'all, she's from Texas. She
Yeah.
It is
is
taking
Western.
over the world.
So it's so
Yeah.
cool. I really feel like, especially 1883, Yellowstone kind of put it on a global scale. 1883 was to remind people the history of it. And I think
Yeah.
to show people the history of what this Western culture is, and that most of our ancestors did that journey, whether they
Yeah.
were doing the journey even across seas. We see the immigrants. We see, like, the boys that were working in the barn. You see a soldier. I mean, it's so cool to have that representation across the scale. And I think that's really what blew up this whole culture, because Yellowstone, they're all ranchers. But then you got to see 1883, and it's like, oh my gosh, that was,
Yeah.
what Grati, what you got. I mean, you got to see all different livelihoods in this
Yeah.
world. And
So many different perspectives.
yeah,
Yep.
and it was so unbelievable. I mean, I really think that you guys and Taylor Sheridan and that whole family were really able to give yourself a little pat on the back, because I think now
Yeah.
Louis Vuitton and Drake, and we got Beyonce, and I have all my besties, all my little New Yorkers. They're asking me to ship them cowgirl boots.
Everybody wants a slice of
love
that
it.
Western pie right now. It's really cool.
It's so
No, I love it.
exciting.
Like, Taylor didn't invent Westerns or cowboys, but he definitely gave it a shot of adrenaline.
Holy
And now
cow.
it's taken over. Everything in Hollywood's a copycat business. When something pops, everyone goes back to their studio, they go to their producers, they go to their writers. Hey, we need something like that. And it's hard to recreate something like what Taylor does, because Taylor is that. It's authentic, it's real, it's who he is. If they weren't filming, he'd still be there, wrangling cows and, living on the ranch and riding horses and cutting horses. And that's who he is. So it's not, where I got to come up with this story about a Western and cowboys, but I'm really a city guy.
Right.
Taylor's that guy.
Yep.
So it's who he is. So it comes natural. And I think that comes through on the screen. And that's why people gravitate towards his projects.
It's insane. I get asked that question all the time. What was he like to work with? You know what? I was like, he is that world. I mean,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure each morning before he got to set, he was already up pushing around his cattle around his property before he
Yeah.
even made it to set. I mean, it's just insane. By the way, did you ever ride a horse before the show? Because when I auditioned, it was very clear that they were looking for actors with horse riding experience, because they were like, hey, list your horse riding experience when you audition. First of all, did you audition? And had you had horse riding experience, and did you say you had it but actually didn't? Or I'm curious.
I said, what do y'all need me to say to get this job? You want to hear about some horses? Yeah.
I love
rode
horses.
Yeah, I love horses. I know all about a horse. No, I've been on a horse before, but not to the level of what we did. Like Griffith Park, you're walking through a trail. In Mississippi, I was on a horse here and there, but never like loping and like just really getting after it. And I did audition. I maybe sent in like 6 or 7 tapes.
All for
just
Thomas?
a bunch.
That's
All for Thomas.
wild.
Just a bunch of, and then the last tape, it was my birthday a few years ago, and it's a call from my agent or my manager saying, hey, Taylor Sheridan wants to talk to you right now. Okay, we pull the car over. Me and my wife were going to eat dinner. Pull the car over, and he was saying, this is what I want to see on the next tape that you do. And we talked for about 45 minutes, and I'm like, okay. So let that settle in.
No
Just talk
pressure.
to Taylor about, no pressure. And the last tape I sent in was in like, my birthday was May 23rd. Last tape I sent in was May 27th, 28th. I didn't hear anything until late June, early July, maybe. I was filming Fantasy Island. I was in Puerto Rico, and my agent calls me and was like, hey, you got the 1883 job. They want you in Fort Worth in 3 days.
Oh.
What? I'm in Puerto Rico right now. I can't, I have to finish up out here. And that's why I was late to cowboy camp. I was like a day late with you guys.
Yeah. Okay.
Finishing up over there. And then I came right away. And you got, like, you especially, Eric, like riding horses, you had it. Like you were that guy anyway. And I'm looking around like, man, this is intimidating. Like James had it. I'm looking at all these guys that are just getting after it in cowboy camp. And I'm like, yeah, can I go ride my horse over there and figure it out while these guys are like over here showing out? But it was, and a big thing with cowboy camp wasn't just riding, but it was all of us bonding together. And that's why we went right into filming, and it was seamless. And that's why it was what it was.
That was truly, I think, my favorite part of the entire process of filming that show was this cowboy camp that we got to go to, where we all got to go to Taylor Sheridan's ranch and train to be proper cowboys, day in and day out, riding, learning to work all the like the guns we had to use on set, learning how to rope, learning how to cut cattle. I mean, it was truly a completely immersed. We immersed ourselves in this experience for weeks and became a family then, which I always say was the biggest blessing, because by the time we got to set, the last thing we're thinking about now is how to run the horse or how to push the cattle, and we could just sit in those moments as actors and perform. It was incredible.
Yeah, it was second nature.
It really
It was second
was.
nature after that.
If you have not already made plans to go to the National Cowgirl Museum and Hall of Fame in Fort Worth, Texas, to see their newest exhibition, an Escaramuza Chara, the women who ride side saddle executing intricate patterns at a gallop, you still have time. Well, that's a mouthful, but it's worth it. The exhibition runs through December, and they even have a podcast, Conversations at the Cowgirl, which will give you some insight into the sport and its origins, and even a little behind the scenes on how the exhibition is curated. Conversations at the Cowgirl, a National Cowgirl Museum podcast that is available wherever you stream your favorite shows. Follow us on social at Cowgirl Museum for updates, or visit our website at cowgirl.net.
Discover a curated selection of renowned brands that embody luxury and craftsmanship, including Lucchese, Stetson, Double D, Stallion, and Blackjack, alongside captivating new arrivals and unique brands waiting to be explored. Elevate your wardrobe, elevate your lifestyle. Experience the epitome of luxury at Pinto Ranch. Mention this ad in stores or use code Eric Sainty, that's ERICSAINTY, at pintoranch.com to receive 20% off your purchase.
Have you had that experience? I mean, each one's going to be different, but have you ever been on another series? Because you do so many cool, military heavy shows and ensemble pieces. Do you get those weeks of prep before and kind of that camp to really train? Have you ever had that before?
No, 1883, from cowboy camp all through the last day of filming was unique. And part of that was because of COVID, and we had our little bubble and we couldn't leave, and we were all like immersed in this world. A big part of that was Taylor, how he preps for his shows, how he brings even on Lioness, Special Ops Lioness, we come in, weapons training, all the guys are going out drinking beers, and we wake up the next day, hours of weapons. Like, he wants everyone to bond before you start filming. And on 1883, it was, there were certain days where we couldn't eat any of the food unless it was something from the 1800s. So when we would go eat lunch all together, it wouldn't be anything present day. It was cornbread, it was, beans, it was stuff that they would be eating back in that time. So he engulfed us in this world, and I've never had a job like that. And I remember sitting, it was the first episode, at the end of the first episode, when me and Sam Elliott were sitting on our horses and all the wagon trains started coming, and you just see how massive this show is and how massive this world is that he built. And we're sitting there looking at it, and Sam said, "Good to look at this, man. Like, I've never seen this in my life, and I probably never will again." And that's Sam Elliott, the history he has in this Western world, him telling me that, and me looking back over the 26 wagon train with, what he just said to me, it made me appreciate it that much more, but knew this wasn't something that just happens all the time. I don't know if we'll ever have another experience like that 1883 experience. And I was telling other younger actors that hadn't done a lot of jobs before, I'm like, it doesn't happen like this.
Yeah.
It doesn't, this family, the way everyone's tight knit, it doesn't, you're going to go to your next job. When they say cut, everyone's going to break out in 30 different ways, and you'll see them the next day at work. But with us, we wouldn't break out. We just go to Nick's, the saloon, or we go in front of the saloon and have beers, or we just sit on horses, or we'd be in front of our little apartment barns or whatever, practicing roping all night. It was all day and all night. And it was like that for 5 or 6 months. I don't know if there's ever going to be another job like that.
And I still feel like your wife and I talk through Instagram every single day. Like, I just think that's so cool. I'm always like, she's an amazing real estate agent. And she's always posting like the houses. And I'm like, oh, girl, love that house. And I'll post something of Molly Morgan and she'll comment. So I feel like it's so rare that, too, like the significant others, y'all allowed us to be so much a part of the journey. And we all are still family as well, which is so freaking cool. I need to speak about your amazing wife for a minute because a lot of the reason that we did this show was the glamour and grit of being with an actor and or both being actors or both being in positions. How do you handle it being away from each other so often and so long? And like as I know, it's like so many of y'all's hours, we're on opposite hours. By the time y'all are getting off work, I'm like, I just put the kids to bed. I'm going to bed. I don't want to talk to you anymore. What is that like? Like, how are you able to juggle it all?
Uh-oh, we lost your audio.
Can you hear me?
Oh, now
Yeah.
I can. You
All
wanna
right,
just-
all right. Sorry about that. Yeah, recently, it's every couple, every family has kind of their own way of doing that, or it's whatever works for you guys. And on Special Ops Lioness, I was in Baltimore for like 5 months, and every weekend I was flying home, and that is taxing on me. But I don't want to be apart from my family that long. My son, he's 4, he was like 3 at the time, and I want to be involved in a lot of those moments. So I would have a backpack on Friday. I'd go to work. After work, I'd go straight to the airport. I'd leave the car there. I'd fly on a red eye. I'd go home for a couple days. And Sunday evening on a red eye, I would fly back to Baltimore, backpack, go straight to work. And there's no rest for you. Like your body, if you don't take a step back and, treat your body the way it's supposed to be treated, like you got to rest. Your body's going to shut down. And I was doing that weeks after weeks after months, and it was a lot. So now this, the next job I have when we go to Texas for a while, I'm bringing the family with me. So they're all going to come out there. We're going to get a house, get wherever we're filming. We're going to set up shop near there. We went to Spain and Morocco for 3 months for the end of Lioness. Brought them all out there with me. Everyone was staying in a hotel. I got an Airbnb like right next to the hotel. We're figuring things out as it goes, but it's tricky. It's tricky, but you make it work.
Now, wait a second here. What are you coming to Texas for? And when does this happen?
In April, there's a job. I can't talk about it yet.
I don't think
but
we can talk about that one.
Okay, but there's a long sitting job that's bringing you to Texas, and you're going to be here.
Yeah, I'll be in the Fort Worth area for about 5 months.
Let's
So
go.
yeah, we're all gonna hang out there when I get out there.
Actually,
Yeah.
I
Oh
knew
my
that because
God.
Mina and I talk every day. So we were talking preschools and different activities.
What?
So and neighborhoods.
What?
And the whole shebang.
In Fort Worth or
Fort Worth, yeah.
what?
We're going to have to be doing some cutting of this podcast just in case.
We're
What?
coming.
Okay,
Lock, stock, and barrel. We're coming.
That's incredible. Okay, so you can't talk about that. Is there anything you can talk about that's coming up work-wise that you can share with us? Exciting. I'm going to be geeking about this Texas thing. I can't wait to dig deeper into that later. But
Last year we did. Late last year we finished it. We went to New Orleans. I did a film with Linda Hamilton, Max Martini, Michael Irby. The cast was really great. It was a sci-fi like action film. It's like Predator meets Alien kind of thing on a spaceship. And if you told me like the 8-year-old me that I'd be running around with Sarah Connor with these big guns, and just blowing up, like it was surreal. And I still have that kid in me when I am working. Like I look around like, wow, look how far I came.
man,
And that keeps my humility, that keeps me grounded. Like none of this stuff is taken for granted. But that movie is being shopped around now. So hopefully sometime this year it'll be out. And this week I just started back on Terminal List. Not this week, a little while ago. Just started back on Terminal List, Dark Wolf, the prequel, with Seen Through the Eyes of Taylor Kitsch's character, Ben Edwards. So that'll be coming out soon. But that's a really good cast for that. We'll be going to Budapest in a few weeks from now, maybe a month from now. We'll be going to Hungary for a little while. So yeah, more military.
You
You
are
know, more
living the
military stories
life.
to be told.
Oh my God. I can't even imagine. That is the coolest thing ever. No, it, you inspire me. I'm actually speechless right now. Do you feel like you gravitate towards projects that are more military based, or do you feel like it finds you? Like the soul, or do you think maybe your build and just like it's so interesting I guess, you don't, if it's working for you, it's like,
I
what,
mean,
hey?
and the superhero world too. It's like what? It's
I,
iconic.
I think what it is, I'm a big dude, and early in my career, I hadn't found my lane yet, or where do I fit in all this? Like I'd have a great audition, and I'm walking out, they're like, great job, great job. Oh, by the way, how tall are you? I'm like,
Yeah, here we go.
here we go, because your height in early my career, it didn't help me. And being a big guy, I tried to drop some weight, drop a few lbs, and try to fit into a cast where I'm not the big dude. But after a while, I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do what I do, and eventually I'm gonna find my place in my lane. And a lot of roles I take or end up getting offered or getting is these roles of a commanding kind of presence.
Yeah.
And even the superhero world, I played the Monitor and the Anti-Monitor. One guy was trying to destroy the world, and his evil brother, that was his evil brother, but the other guy was trying to save the world, and they're both these huge, larger than life presences. So, even Designated Survivor, I'm like this, Secret Service former Marine guy that is looking after Kiefer Sutherland's character, the president. And he's the physicality of the show. He's and part of me getting that job, they wanted me to be a lot bigger than what Kiefer was. So that worked for that world. And, gradually I'm just finding my lane. Everyone, if you find your lane, if you see where you fit in, you try to do that better than everybody else.
Absolutely.
And you
That's
have.
Do you
the
have
best way I can put it. Yeah.
do you have a dream, like if you could see one story told or a dream role or a dream project to put yourself in to be a part of? Is there something you're manifesting or anything you've always thought about, like, wow, I would love to play that person or that superhero or something?
Yeah. I'm a big comic book guy, and I grew up watching or comic books. I grew up reading a lot about John Stewart, Green Lantern. He was one of the first Black comics that, my manager, I wish I could bring it over and show you guys, but my manager on my birthday, he bought me the first time that John Stewart was introduced into the DC world. And it was him on the cover of this comic holding Hal Jordan. It was like in the 70s, like this iconic picture, but everyone knows like I'm a huge Green Lantern guy. And when I first got into the business, that was all I thought about. And over the years, that's kind of like, it's still there, but there's so many other things that I want to do now. I want to do another Western. I want to tell Western stories. I want to tell more stories about Black cowboys. I want to do an adventure show, like something like Lord of the Rings. I'm big in the sci-fi world. I'm big into, action adventure. I don't really have, other than Green Lantern, John Stewart, I don't really have one specific thing I want to do, but now it's just the whole world there's so many stories to tell. And I just want to be a part of every last one of
Yes.
all of them.
And you will.
Please, God, so we can
Yeah.
watch.
Amen. Okay, we like to end each of our episodes with your glamour and your grit. So you know what, like the table as a kid, you'd say like what is it, your peak and your perk, or your
See, we never
pit,
did that. I'm not
your
sure.
pit and your so you're good. So what is like your glamour in your life? Like it can be of this week, it could be your career, and then just what is something that has been your grit?
My glamour right now, I'm on cloud 9 with this right here.
Oh, the
yeah, man.
coolest.
That's just
This is
incredible.
my glamour right now. Like, if you told me that I'd have my own action figure and I could sit here and play, cowboys and all whatever, like with it's weird. And my son, like yesterday for homework, they wanted him to make up some Dr. Seuss character, like just draw some whatever character, you can make them up, use a lot of colors. And he says, I want to draw Dada. And I'm like, what do you
Oh.
mean? He's like, Dada, I want to wait here. And he comes in the other room and he grabs this. I want to draw Dada. And I'm like, all right, yeah, let's cheer it up a little bit. Like, yeah, let's
Daddy's an action figure. How cool.
yeah, let's draw Dada. And let's do that.
Bro,
So that's my glamour right now. I'm sure there's other stuff I'm not thinking about. Yeah, and the grit is just, I guess, getting back to work, like getting back in work mode. I've been in daddy mode for the past, the strike with all the stuff going on. A lot of people haven't been working, and now I'm getting back to work. So it's like getting out of this dad mode back into work mode. Maybe is the grit.
Amen to that. Oh, LaMonica, we love you so much.
Yeah,
I can't thank you enough.
Truly, it was just I've been just so excited for today and to have you here, man. I'm so pumped for you. Can't wait to find out more about this Texas project. So excited for the terminal list coming up for you. Can't wait to watch that. And thank you so much for being here, Bram.
Hey, thanks for having me, y'all. And we're gonna be on some horses soon.
Let's do it. The kids will be playing in the backyard together.
Come on home. Come home.
Get the little ones together. Get them on some horses. It's gonna be a good time.
Let us know what we can do to help you too.
Absolutely, we appreciate that. We'll give you guys a call and to set us in the right direction.
Us girls have already got it. We got you guys.
I guess they already
We're good.
it out.
Well, I guess I need to be caught up.
They already figured all the game plan out.
I mean, my gosh, we got to start figuring our own plan and let them feel like they're out of it.
Y'all can cowboy it out, and we might margarita it out.
We'll be going to TCU football games and some Mavs games and
I love it.
Cowboys games.
Absolutely.
Oh my God! Thank you, LaMonica. We love you so much.
Love y'all. Appreciate it.
Thanks, brother.
Mwah.
We'll see you soon.
See you.
Wow, I am feeling quite 1883ified.
I feel like I just got done with a family dinner and we're full now and smiley and just going to put on a movie with my best friends. That was great.
I feel like I want to watch the series all over again, but it's dark, folks. I don't know if I can take it again.
I mean, you see us all outside of that now, and so you realize like the light and levity that everybody brought to set while we were shooting, which is what made it seem like it wasn't dark at all when we were in the moment. But yeah, when I watched it on TV, I was like, oh, it really is intense. But these actors and people I got to work with and surround myself with, as you saw and heard, are just the kindest souls and, truly family. So I'm just so happy right now. I'm just so happy we got to do that and get us all in on this.
And thank you to the Sheridans and Glasser and everybody at Paramount and 101 who brought this family together, because I think they have become a family. And now because of that, we've all become a family. So grateful for that.
Amen. And I pray it is just the beginning. Let's keep it rolling. Well, thanks, guys. Another great episode. We'll see you next
Friday.
week. Actually, we'll see you Friday, not next week. You're right.
Yeah.
See you soon.
Glamour.
Grit. Glamour.
Grit.
Glamour.
Grit. Glamour.
Grit.